This is Brady Roberts from Pro Wrestling South Australia, and you're watching CCP Podcasting. Make sure you check us out and keep watching.
What is happening, friends of CCP Podcasting? Welcome back to Beyond the Bell. I am Chris Page. That man is John Cable. What is happening, brother? How are you doing?
I'm doing. It's another wet day in Florida. Here we are. It's summertime, so we've got storms brewing on the ocean, and plenty of time to enjoy our passion for wrestling. Right?
I didn't say Deion Summers around you.
I know, right?
You said it was summertime. Where's Deion?
It's always summertime. He's in our hearts, brother. He's in our hearts.
Absolutely. We've got a great show coming to us today. We've had a tremendous run so far with this project that we've been on, and it takes us so many places. It's taken us down to Australia, into Portugal, all over the UK. Fucking, it's an endless rabbit hole. But along the journey, you stumble across other people who might be doing stuff similar or creating their own platform and going down their own rabbit hole of professional wrestling to see where it takes them. And that's what brings us to today. And I'm kind of excited to have this conversation because it's with another fellow content creator and, to be able to compare notes really on stuff that we've done in the past versus stuff that they're doing, or et cetera, et cetera. It's just going to be a great conversation, I feel, and we're just going to see where it goes. And our guest today is coming to us from Boston, Massachusetts. He's representing Over the Top Talk. We've got the main man, Owen. What's happening, man? How are you? Welcome to the show.
What's up, everybody? Happy to be on. Coming here, Massachusetts right now is pretty blazing hot actually today. Kind of just coming on here, sitting in my room. It's cold, so I'm ready to get going.
Anywhere there's an AC, right?
No doubt. Down here in Florida, brother, it's a disaster. Humidity's a son of a bitch every day.
Well, they're getting the taste of ours right now. The temperatures and humidities up there are doing the damnedest.
Well, go ahead. Oh, I thought you were about to say something. Oh, my phone.
Nah.
Well, let's jump in. Let's get started. You guys, you're with Over the Top Talk. I told you kind of like before we came on the air. I kind of stumbled across you on Instagram. We follow a lot of the same talent on the independent scene, as well as some of the same professional talent. And I kept seeing you guys pop up in the feed, and I really dug the fact that there are other people, and obviously, there's hundreds of people that talk to wrestlers or that try and do the wrestling platform, right? But to see some people that are doing it the way that we're doing it, which is like totally organic. It's like kind of a grassroots movement on our channels, and that was something that drew me into what you guys were doing over on Over the Top Talk. So before we get too deep into everything, why don't you introduce yourself to our channel, to our watchers, and tell us a little bit about how Over the Top Talk came about, and your partner that you're working with, and then we'll jump into this thing head first.
All right, perfect. So, obviously the host, Owen, my co-host Anthony was gonna be here, but I love working with that guy. He's been my friend for like 10 years. So I kind of just kind of start with telling you kind of how it started. So me and Anthony have kind of been friends for like our whole life. We're 18, just out of high school now, but we've been friends for probably like over 10 years, like off and on. But like about probably, I think around February of this year, we were really discussing, making a podcast because we really like wrestling. We've liked it for years, we especially. So we eventually kind of sat down together, came up with a name, profile picture, stuff like that. Instagram, we started making the social tags, stuff like that. And we kind of kicked off it started off very sloppy because we didn't have the right, software. So we kind of talked to other podcasters around. They helped us out a lot. We started with kind of talking about all the wrestling shows and events that were happening, like Raw, NXT, SmackDown, stuff like that. We realized we kind of needed to branch off of that because it was getting like very boring just talking about, the shows, pay-per-views. So we kind of got into just hitting up independent wrestlers just to, we probably sat on there on Instagram for like hours at a time just sending DMs out. And probably after about like 2 days, we had like a list of, all different independent people that wanted to come on to us. So we just kind of started making a schedule, forming it, just getting different people set up to come on. It was a long process making a schedule. Because, me and Anthony have two separate lives and we had school going on, so it was kind of rough. But yeah, we started conducting interviews, made connections, kind of just started finding people. So that's kind of how we came to be. Now we've kind of branched off, or at this point now we're kind of just doing interviews with people from independent. We've started hitting up some UFC guys. We do have a former champ coming on our show. I can't really announce that yet, but former UFC champ will be coming on at some point. So yeah, that's where we are right now.
John, I'm gonna turn it over to you. You take the reins for a moment.
So early on, you said that you guys have been friends for a really long time. What was the thing for you guys growing up that got you into wrestling in the first place? Like, who were your first heroes? What's your first big memory of seeing an event?
Okay, so actually, recently, we heard that, John Cena's career is coming to an end, and, in I think 2013, me and Anthony, used to watch, the Cena versus CM Punk matches, Cena versus Randy Orton. We were like huge John Cena people, so actually seeing his retirement slowly coming, it's a very scary thought. So yeah, it kind of started. John Cena kind of kicked it off to where we are. So
Yeah, no, those are big angles for him early on. So it's interesting. So when you decided that wrestling content was the content you were going to go for, what made that decision? As a much younger person, you have like a lot of people in your age bracket will do like game streams or chatting streams, or they do a lot of different things. And you have a lot of options. What drove you guys to choose wrestling as the niche that you wanted to create for?
all right, so for me personally, one of my uncles got me into watching back when it was on a WWE network. You still are, but he introduced me to the Attitude Era at a very young age. Just, we used to watch all the older shows, like probably 1997 through like 2001. We used to watch all the shows over, all the pay-per-views, with Stone Cold Michael, or Shawn Michaels, I mean. So I got introduced to, the Attitude Era at a young age, and it kind of got me into wrestling in general because I really like that older era of wrestling. So
it was a great time for the industry.
It sure was.
That's true.
Yeah, that is the golden era. I think for a while wrestling kind of died in the early 2000s. There was not a whole lot happening. When you guys start putting your kind of your concept together and putting your platform together, first of all, I think it's cool as shit that you guys are doing this at such a young age. I think that's awesome. I constantly tell John, what if we started doing this 10 years prior, like 10 years ago? Where would we be now as a channel? And to see that you guys are both just coming out of high school and are jumping into this right now, like, I mean, and gaining the following that you're gaining too, like it's really impressive for a young channel such as you guys. And we're a little over a year ourselves. So kudos to like putting a plan together. I can see that both of you guys think a lot like I do to a degree, because that's a very similar situation. Me and that guy right there go back over a decade, and one day out of the blue, I just randomly hit up one of the guys in Australia, and he said yes. And it's taken us to where we've gone today. And with over the top talk, are you guys are weekly? Is that am I right with saying that?
Yeah, we have a couple videos we have to post, but yeah, it's usually weekly. Right now it's not, but it will start kicking up again.
I have no doubts. I think you guys just came off of a break. You were on a vacation and got yourself back, got everything together. First of all, how did you enjoy Florida? Let me ask you that.
Oh, it was amazing. I was there for the long weekend, Friday to Monday, I think like a month ago. It was very enjoyable. Obviously went to Disney, went to, all the parks. It's a very amazing place to be. The weather was nice too because we went, when it's not like blazing hot. So
Yeah,
yeah,
about
it
a
was
month
very
ago, you caught it
enjoyable.
right at that turning point where we were right in the right spot. It was nice.
Did
That was
you
it for the year.
did you get a chance to hit up Universal? Did you hit up Universal Studios?
No, that's the one
Oh,
place I didn't go to.
Next
my
trip,
my heart
it's a
breaks.
must go.
It is definitely a must go. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to get off on that. I remembered that you had recently vacationed down this way. Um, when you guys, so let's go back to the inceptions. Really, once you send out to get the feelers out there to see who's interested, and B, putting the schedule together. How did you guys find the time to make all that happen? Because you just said you guys are recently graduated high school, so you guys were starting off at the tail end of your senior year. So, walk me through how that kind of plays into the bigger picture here.
Yeah, I will say that scheduling was a challenge. Obviously, we had, two different lives. We work, school, so I kind of just asked because we started in February, so I kind of just asked Anthony kind of some days he was open. I had my notes on my phone, so I kind of just started, making days that we were both available. Um, and then I would kind of just hit up one wrestler at a time. There's many times where I would accidentally schedule wrestlers on the same day when I have to reschedule, but that was probably the most frustrating part was, um, booking multiple people because, different time zones too was kind of screwy with us because, the people from the United Kingdom, I think it is, like, it's like a 12-hour, it's like a long distance or long
Yeah,
hour
the UK is
distance.
5-6
Yeah,
hours, and
5-6.
Australia is like 11
Yeah,
hours. Yeah,
That's
it's
wild.
crazy for us too. We get that.
yeah. So with, obviously we were in school, so there was one guy, I think he wanted to do like 8 o'clock his time, and it was like we were still in school, so it was like can't do that. Um, Having multiple people, like I said, I used to have like I think two people I would accidentally schedule together like on the same time, and I'd like be like, damn. So I definitely learned from that. But
Yeah,
yeah, the schedule kind of started we kind of started flowing with it. So
You got to be careful, man. You can't make a mistake. People tend
yeah,
to people tend
yeah. The
to.
internet
yeah,
is unforgiving.
I say
yeah,
that with a smile because there's just it happens. It's happened with us. We've had a couple of incidences that I now have made a joke out of it. When anybody asks me, can you give me any advice? Yeah, don't make a mistake. Just don't make a
That's
mistake.
yeah. I do actually want to throw in something. Is it was um, we have had a couple instances where the people get like super. Two of the guys got like super pissed that we had to reschedule, and I'm like, whoops. And then they kind of sunfollowed us. I was like, whatever, just move on from it. So
I found that that is the best option. So, like, you guys said you're 18. I'm 41, and I've have seen and dealt with a lot of different personalities over the course of my life. I can tell you that when I run across people like that, I just say I'm sorry. There's nothing that I can do about that. I'm moving too quick. I was moving too, it's at the end of the day, it's on us, right? Like there's nothing that we can say or do about it. It happened. And it's one of those situations that you just got to get past. It's obviously, and it's difficult, right? Because from your perspective and my perspective, like ultimately we're trying to get your name out there and we're trying to talk to you and we're trying to, you know, have a conversation with you, and shit just happened. Like I go back to our most recent situation, and it's really the only one that we've really ever had. Hey, it happened. Move on from it. I'm sorry that you can't. That doesn't make us unprofessional. That doesn't make us. It makes us. It's a teachable moment. It makes us learn. At the end of the day, uh, I hate that people sometimes uh, take the path of trying to show their ass a little bit when there's no real reason for it.
Yeah.
John, you're up.
So when you first got your list of people, right, and you're getting ready to have your first booking, and you've got this set up, what was going on in your planning process? Like, let me dig a little bit into your pre-show. Like, what do you guys do beforehand to get ready for a show like that? Especially for your first one. Like, what was a concern for you? What were you looking forward to? What was going on with you guys getting ready for your first show?
All right. So, first show, the hardest part was probably we kind of came together. Making the questions was probably one of the hardest parts, if I'm being honest. Me and Anthony kind of sat on a call for a little bit, kind of came up with, I think like it was 10 to 15 questions. I just put in my notes, screenshot it, sent it to him. So we when we had the person on, I forget who it is now, but me and Anthony kind of just like I would read a question, then he would read the second one, kind of ran like that. And yeah, it kind of started flowing. Then from there, we kind of um, built upon those questions. We started researching into every person that was coming on so we could kind of make questions around like what's going on in their life, stuff like that, or their wrestling career, stuff like that. So yeah, it's kind of the process we went through. Questions was definitely the hardest part though.
What do you think your biggest tool for your research is?
Tool usually I'll go on or we'll go on their Instagram page. Usually it has their YouTube, stuff like that. We'll kind of click, swipe, just see like matches they've done, titles, achievements they've done, stuff coming up. We make sure to, point that out too. So usually we use their social medias to, kind of contain information like that. Then we make questions that kind of forms around what's going on. So
I know on with us it's eh, we
I
try
wouldn't say
to.
we don't have a questionnaire because we
We
kind of
kind of
do.
do, yeah. We usually open up with about the same two or three questions, and then that's just kind of like our icebreaker. As to me, honestly, anytime we sit down and do a show like this, it's a blind date, right? Like it's
Yeah.
it's just a blind date. So we got to break the ice, and once that ice is broken, buddy, it can go from mild to wild real quick, or it can be copacetic and calm. We had Mark Haskins on a couple of weeks ago, and it's the only interview that I ever legit got nervous on because it's fucking Mark Haskins. So this guy's just tremendous over in the UK and here in the States. He's actually on a tour here in the States right now. Um, we I thought that it would be kind of awkward, but it wasn't. Dude was just as laid back and chill as more so than I ever imagined. And it brings me like to one of my questions. And I know John's going. We're kind of flip flopping back and forth here, and that's fine too. Thus far, you guys are only 5 or 6 months deep into your run and putting things together. Um, when you got through that first interview and started setting up for interviews 2, 3, et cetera, and you're developing your game plan, your model of how you're going. Like you had your base questions, now you've broken down and you've taken it to this and you've taken it to that to the next level of the individual themselves. Did you find that challenging with your time in school and every other your work and whatever other activities? I guess my question is how did you make the time to get everything together so that you could be as concise as possible when you were talking to these talents?
Yeah, so kind of like you said, tail end of senior year, it wasn't like too hard. Like they didn't like pile work on top of us every night, so we would go home, or any day we had school, like just school, I'd go home, research this guy, kind of text Anthony. He did his own research, would text me what he found. Um, then the days we had work, usually I'd be working and then he'd be off. We were kind of just on different schedules. So when I was working, he would be doing research, and when he was working, I'd be doing the research. So we kind of found that was easier to contain info between each other, so that we could kind of making questions would be easier for us to do. And that was kind of, um, that was kind of how we found the time to research these guys, honestly, just finding time.
I love the
So,
fact that you
yeah.
guys are like a legit tag team. When when one's tied up, the other one's doing some background work. When the other one's tied up, you're doing the background work and making it happen. That shit's good to see. Hot tag, John, you're in.
Yeah.
I love to see it too. It's great. So now that you've had some shows under your belt and things are moving, are you finding new ways to peak the algorithms? Are you finding that you're still tweaking how you're setting up the videos? Are you finding like the newer way, like are you implementing new things all the time? Have you found new tricks to use to get eyeballs on your show? What's the focus for you guys going into these, the first 6 months of your run? Like what's the build like for you?
Yeah, so we've actually, because obviously we use StreamYard for like, our mid videos and stuff. And after it makes the clips that, you guys see on Instagram, stuff like that, makes like 60-second clips, I think. So we've realized that now we kind of branched on to we've realized that doing YouTube shorts and TikTok, actually TikTok's been a really big one. We've been able to get a decent amount of people to view our stuff. I actually personally have a Star Wars TikTok, or I used to, be big into Star Wars, so I had a leftover TikTok account that already had 14,000 followers on it. So I've kind of switched from Star Wars onto wrestling, and I've found that the people that followed me when I was doing Star Wars content are still following me when I do wrestling content. So I find it kind of cool that I still, get the 1,000+ views with the same audience that I was doing before. So, and
Yeah,
with
no,
kind
that's
of
gotta feel
changing
great.
up my stuff. So,
Yeah, that's got to
yeah, it
feel great
definitely
to know
does.
that the community that you built around another topic is just a community built around you and not the topic you're talking about.
Yeah, and I still get the amount of the views are still the same. I think I average about like 1,000 or 1,500. Sometimes they skyrocket to like 10,000s or 10,000s of views. So, and it helps us get in, people's eyes on our YouTube and stuff like that. So,
No, that kind of networking is invaluable. Absolutely.
Go ahead, keep going,
yeah.
John.
So that being said, you guys don't do a live stream at all?
We what's it called? We usually our interviews, we used to do live streams, but we found that when we actually record it and post it, the views kind of are way better than they are when we're live streaming. So we kind of started recording our videos and then post them later, and we've realized that that's helped us,
Yeah,
kind of
no,
generate more views. So
the Beyond the Bell series for us is a pre-recorded show for that very reason. It's way easier to have that interview and have that conversation and then produce it and put it out the way it's meant to be seen and not have, a billion people in or whatever. And it's harder to keep track of the conversation flow when you have chat also. I was just curious if you guys had a live streaming platform. And if you intend to do content on a live streaming platform, like is that in the works for you guys to build a show around?
Honestly, probably not right now, but if I were to, I think I would do it on TikTok, because usually sometimes I'll go live on Instagram. I've noticed that when I go live on TikTok, there's like way more people that'll join, interact than on Instagram. So if we were to
Interesting.
start doing like a live show, I'd do it on TikTok. So
Interesting.
Yeah, TikTok's the only platform that I don't think I've ever gotten off the ground for us on this side of the equation.
Yeah,
First of
I've
all,
never used it personally.
I fucking hate social media. I'm that get off my lawn guy. I despise it. I think it's the bane of existence. But I have to use it just like everybody else does. I just can't get on the TikTok bandwagon. I don't know why. And maybe it's just because I'm an old fuck that just the concept of trimming down videos into clips or what have you. I have not mastered. I haven't even begun to try it. But I think that that's something that definitely separates you from not only us but several other platforms that are out there. Is taking the time to sit down and clip stuff out and then sucks that I have to say that, but it is what it is. Time is time, and but to take it and get the digestible content out there is kind of where the bread and butter is, at least from this side of the equation. But in the same token, this may sound bad. No, I don't intend for it to sound bad by any means, but I guess it depends on the nature of what you're trying to do. I'm not a big, I guess, like I said, if I put it out there, you're gonna watch it or you're not. Like it's just one of those situations. You're either gonna watch it or you're not.
It really just boils down to like for us, this is our hobby project. It's the thing we love, so we do it and we like to share it with people. So here we are. You guys absolutely are rocking the algorithms right now, and your growth has
Yeah.
been astronomical. You guys are hitting massive numbers early on, and you're doing
Yep.
something with it. We love to see that. We want to see as many platforms do that as possible. And the fact that you guys are building that right now and doing this thing that we're doing and enjoying the space is phenomenal. For you guys being new podcasters, in the last 6 months and getting a platform around you and growing this way, what's been the best part of your ride so far? What's been the thing that you like? You look at your partner and you're like, dude, we did that thing. This is great. Look at what we're doing.
definitely the connections we've gotten. I think it was, yeah, a couple months ago we got, probably you guys saw it, Bull Buchanan, from the Attitude Era, and it was very cool getting to interview that guy because I've seen him on my screen during that Attitude Era. So yeah, definitely the connections, because obviously having the connections kind of got us that interview with that guy. Because I'll talk to other podcasters; they'll help us get. Actually, that's another point I'll make. Making, like, following other podcast groups and asking them questions. I'm in a couple group chats where we'll post, or the podcast in that group chat will post their content, then we'll post ours. Kind of making a community with that. So definitely the connections we've made is probably the best part of this podcast so far.
I 100% can agree with that.
Yep.
You never know like where shit will take you, and I say that, and you know, we started with Beyond the Bell about 6 months ago. We're on episode 23 or 24. 20,
7, 6, 7, 8, 7, 8, I think.
we had the opportunity to sit down and talk to Travis Orndorff, who's the son of Hall of Famer Paul Orndorff, Mr. Wonderful. That has turned into producing a podcast for him, and and I say all that to say is you don't ever know where this can take you, right? Like while it's a passion project, it also has the potential to either draw you an income in some form or fashion, or in your case, like this is mind blowing material. If you're 6 months deep right now and you've already gotten the following that you've gotten, and you've got you're making the connections that you're making, 6 months deep, think about 5 years from now. Like independent wrestling or wrestling in general, like I say all the time, people can see through fake, right? Like it's just natural. If you're fake, people will see it. If you're genuine, then it's like Field of Dreams. If you build it, they will come. And it really feels like that you guys are on the genuine side of the equation, because if you weren't, then you wouldn't have some of the success that you're finding right now. And to me, knowing how just based so far on your perception and how you've built your platform, and you're so young, it gives me a lot of hope that on the flip side of this, that in the next 5 to 10 years, if you guys stick at it and you keep going, there's no telling where you're going to be. Goddamn, what is that guy's name? Sam. He's with the WWE, does the pre-shows. I think his name's Sam Roberts. Started the same way, just doing a show, and here, fast forward, now he's actually there. He's at the show. He's doing the show. So I know that that's a lot to unpack, but the most important piece of that is 5 years from now. Think about where you would be and how far you guys can go, and it's really something to sit back and be like, damn, there's a lot of potential here.
I think the real question of that is, what do
and
you guys want to do with it?
There you go.
yeah, I'll roll with that. Recently so when I came back from vacation, obviously we kind of took that, little break and came back. But during that break, we kind of discussed what we wanted to do when we went back, and we found, more similarities to each other. Like we both like NBA, NFL, UFC. So then when we came back, we wanted to branch off from only making wrestling content. So now we want to talk about things that we like, so it's more fun for us. And with, the UFC, we obviously have that former champion coming on soon. So I feel like branching out more to other spaces, like different topics of sports and stuff like that, has made it more enjoyable to talk about and kind of like flow the conversations a little bit.
I had 100 ideas fill my head just now for you to get community engagement and value out of your channel if you branch to other sports.
Yeah.
We should talk about that later. I got 100 ideas just filled my head. Like, you like fantasy football?
Yeah, I actually have a league that we're in, so yeah.
So there's an entire show you can do just covering your week to weeks on your fantasy league. You get hooked up with other leagues to have an interleague Super Bowl. It becomes an entire network of fantasy leagues. You have thousands of people that are all just in on your one show talking about your weekly league. It's just one thing.
Yeah, we've thought about a ton of things, and we realized that branching out was probably the best option so that we can, have fun with it.
Each new
Not like
topic is a lot
wrestling
of work, but
sucky.
each new topic is a lot of work to put into the new show. But once you get it moving, it'll all just flow in, just like the first one did.
Yeah, and not like wrestling's like sucky, obviously, but like
No, but
we
there's other
realized that
things that sports fans are interested in.
yeah,
100%.
yeah, so that's why we did the branch out. Plus, it's more fun to talk about different things on it. So
Well, fun's the key ingredient to this whole, smorgasbord of content creation. If you're not having fun, then you're doing it for the wrong reasons. Right? That's kind of been my philosophy. I did a show before we went on the air. I was filling you in, but I did a guest spot, and one of the things I was telling them, they were asking me, how do you, real wrestling versus independent wrestling? Why do you lean more towards independent over professional? Well, it's because there's so many people out there who are not being seen. Number one, that need to be seen, and we have a lot of fun doing that and seeing you jump down the same rabbit hole initially with independence and now branching out into other things. I can see you guys making a play. I really can. It just
They could be the next Sports Center.
build it one brick at a time. Absolutely.
yeah, and kind of like you said, making new ideas too with those other sports. Obviously, we've been having a fun time talking about the NBA because the Celtics just won the title, so it's been fun to kind of just talk about that while also sticking with the wrestling. So, and we follow all the sports too, so it's not like we're just like we don't have to research as much because we kind of already
Because
have
you're
it in our
already
head a little
absorbing
bit.
the
So,
info.
yeah.
Well, with your wrestling stuff, and John, I'll throw it over to you in just a second. With the interviews that you've conducted thus far, what's been your favorite? Which one did you come out of? And I'm not to put you on the spot. You don't have to answer that if you don't want to, because now that I'm thinking about it, like every interview is great in its own way. So it's maybe difficult to narrow it down. Which one did you have the most fun with? How about that? That's an easier way to ask that question. Which one did you come out of having the most fun conducting?
Yeah, of course. And I actually just mentioned it, the former WWF wrestler, Bull Buchanan, was definitely the best and most fun just because, um, he was respectful. I love when people are respectful. And we were asking him questions, obviously, surrounding his career in WWE. So it was amazing hearing the stories that he had to tell us. One of them, he told us about the Montreal Screwjob and how he kind of separated Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels. So I found it cool that he was involved kind of in more of the backstage of the Montreal Screwjob than physically
That was
out
a
there. So
wild time right
yeah, the
there.
stories he told us. Yeah, and obviously being a guy that I've seen on my TV kind of just with my uncle, it was fun to, be able to have him on my show. So yeah, that was definitely the most fun I've had.
Hot
I think
tag,
for
John.
I think for me, the moment in our podcast that really stands out to me is like the line that I took away from was wrestling. A lot like a lot of industries and a lot of things in life is a thing that if you're not always ready for it, it'll only be ready for you when it's ready for you. And if you're not ready to answer the call for it, then you missed it. And I think when we had that conversation, I think it was with Rico, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that conversation part that we had with Rico Gonzalez really stuck out to me as the moment in our podcast that was like, damn, no, this is like real shit. That's the most real thing that I've had anybody say to me in a long time. and that really sticks out to me in our career so far.
What else you got, John?
So doing podcasts and doing video content and even thinking about live streaming, what do you think has been the biggest skill that you've brought to the game, or something that you had to really hone and use to make your product the way you wanted to? Not just like the editing parts, but like personally, what skills do you think played a large part in you being successful?
Honestly, probably the communication is, I used to be like really, shy, kind of, I didn't really like to talk like too much, if that kind of makes sense. And then when I made the podcast, I kind of started just like flowing, and my communication skills started like skyrocketing. Like I can talk to really whoever I want and now. So like you know, I'll come on with other guys, kind of just like I'd say I used to be like when I probably first started, I was kind of like nervous, kind of skittish when people came on for the first time meeting them. Now it's kind of just like, yeah, I'm going on this, and I'll just be chill. So definitely communication was probably what I gained from this.
It definitely
It is,
breaks you out of your shell.
yeah.
If you're in one, it will bring you out in a heartbeat. And actually, that is something to take away from it. I think that helps everybody really when you
Mhm.
sit down and have conversations with people. Again, they're blind dates. We've never spoken before, other through DMs. The same thing with talent, and outside adventures as well. Like it's just something that you will always carry along with you. And as I said, talent, I had a question pop in my head, and I know that you've done a lot of, wrestling talent. Have you guys tried to talk to any producers or any backstage or any ring announcers, or has it strictly just been in-ring talent?
It has strictly really been wrestling talent, but there was a wrestler that came on. You guys might know him, might not. August Artois.
Last name's
The
I
name
don't know
familiar.
if
is
you guys
the name is
know him,
familiar.
but yeah, he's a wrestler, but like he also produces his own stuff. Like I think he had a documentary come out, so that's kind of been the only guy that's kind of, has his own kind of story writing, if that makes sense.
No, it
So,
totally does. Totally does. I was just curious because one of the things that we've done is uh, everybody in wrestling, their job's critical. Without the other, then you don't have a product, or you don't. It's not going to be as good, right? Like it's just the way it is, and it's fortunate. We've been fortunate enough to kind of talk to a lot of different people throughout the entire profession, and even now, obviously, like John said, John and I are both industry guys. Going back 20 plus years. It's the last time I was in the ring. I can't speak for John. I don't remember. Uh, but to see the difference in then versus now, and with you and your partner being so new to the game and so young, uh, how do you think tackling this adventure in the way that you guys have tackled it? Has it been challenging? Have you found moments throughout this journey where maybe you've gotten frustrated with something outside of, talent maybe not being gracious,
Scheduling,
or,
or
like if you've ran into any roadblocks that you're able to navigate around, because, the biggest misconception is that this is easy, that the whole market, it's not. It is a lot of work. It's a second job, and a lot of people
Mhm.
don't grasp that, but you guys do, obviously. So what kind of challenges have y'all faced and overcame thus far throughout your run?
so I'll start with one challenge we kind of have, and that would be right now we did actually, something popped up in my head from the last question. We reached out to one of the WWE refs. I forget the name, but he actually sent us a DM. Like we asked him to come on, he sent us a DM that there would be something with public relations that like one like we'd have to get approval from like WWE, so it would just be like impossible. So we've been trying to figure out how we can kind of get past that.
There is
Kind
no
of
past
research
it, but
that.
if you get in
Yeah.
touch with their PR department and get in good with someone in PR, you may be able to get those approvals easier.
And if you're branching out like you guys are with other avenues of sports versus just
It's going to be the
wrestling,
same kind of thing. Yeah, if you want to get other athletes on, you're going to have to get real comfortable dealing with PR departments and getting those office approvals because contracts are a bitch.
they are. But it's very doable. It is doable. And
Yeah, don't get discouraged in that.
going down getting other markets too. I mean, really and truly, like it's like this is just a big reel, right? Like, if you've got independent wrestlers, you've got Bull, you've got this UFC fighter coming on, you've got other things coming up down there. You just put a reel together at some point and just be like, this is what we've done. Presenting it is the biggest thing, and whether or not you ever granted a credential or not, the fact that you put the work in to do it versus not is a win. Because it's showing dedication. It's showing that you guys you believe you're betting on yourselves, and you're winning. It's one of those situations to me, or that's how I kind of view it.
Yeah, and the another challenge we had at first was reaching, we would reach out to some of the people and they'd want, obviously be paid for their time. So we would put those people aside and bring in the people that really wanted to be on that would come on, without that. And we realized that, you don't always have to pay to have really good people on. You know, Bull Buchanan was an example. He was in, every single wrestling thing you could be in, and he was willing to come on for free. Obviously, the UFC guy was also going to come on for free, so we've realized that you don't have to pay to have really good people on.
It is really interesting that you bring that up because
really
we have
is.
had that same conversation in our Discord chat with all the guys that are involved in our channel because there's a pretty big group of us that span across several shows and we all have kind of differing opinions on it. But it is an interesting conversation to have. Like, do you as an aspiring channel decide to pay a talent? And then, a lot of guys are like, well, my time is valuable. And while we understand that, it's not about, do we think it's not a value? It's a question of if we pay one person, should we pay more people? If we don't pay anyone at all, we should just accept that some people won't come on the show, and that's okay. But it has been a large conversation that we've also had, and we have not decided anything.
I get it. Go ahead.
Yeah, like for us, it's really obviously we obviously just coming out or for us starting college, we're gonna have like no money whatsoever anyways. But if we were to, pay someone, it would have to be like a reasonable price and probably someone within like WWE. We wouldn't like we're not gonna pay for someone that's in like not to kind of but someone that's in the independent circuit. We're just not really interested in paying them. Uh, it would have to be like one of those bigger productions. So
It would
that's
be
kind of our
different.
stance on
It
it.
would probably be different for platforms like ours if we had a marketing budget or we had sponsorships or we had someone that was willing to put money up to advocate for those kinds of fees. But I think in our situation, I'm a dad with 3 kids at home and he's got fur babies and a job to do and stuff going on. So, it's just a financial burden that we just don't have the ability to take care of.
You have a visitor. Um, I get it, 100%. We have had there's a couple people that have asked for some payments, and I'm on the fence. Again, we've had so many people that have talked to us and that do want to talk to us, and
and we would love to support them financially in coming on the show. I would love to be able to do that. That would be great.
Yeah, no, well, just buy a T-shirt when I can, and do the thing, because we're, living as well, and everybody's time is valuable. But that's where I say, if you're not having fun with it, then you're not. You're in it for the wrong reasons, and it's a constant back and forth. Yeah, you want to talk to this guy or this guy, but man, like, times are tough. And they're only gonna get tougher. I hate to tell you, and I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but if the world is where we're at right now, Jesus Christ, it's going to be gone to hell in a handbasket in the next 15 to 20. It's insane. But it doesn't take away from the fact that I can still appreciate your work. I can still appreciate the talent, what you're doing in the ring. I can still watch your matches on streams or on our channels and be okay. It's not the end of the world, but it's very interesting that that's one of the navigating points of where you guys have had a conversation about, because it's definitely been a hot topic with us as well, and it's just, I don't know. I understand. I get it from both perspectives, and John said it best. We just have come to the agreement that some people just won't appear on the show, and that's fine too. But where do you see you guys going? Like I said, think about the next 5 to 10 years. Where would you like to see yourself in the next 5 years with your platform right now and how it's growing? Because the seeds are planted, and you guys are watering them like a motherfucker, and that tree's gonna grow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so obviously we're both, entering college and probably I think it's like a month and a half now, but I'm going for my business degree, so I'm hoping to, I'll obviously have this show while still working, or I'll be in college, still have this show going on that will obviously we hope will just keep increasing while we're, doing our college stuff. Once we're out, hopefully, we have gained like a decent following at that point and made like as many connections as we, want. And yeah, obviously we want to keep growing while we're in college for the next couple of years instead of like decreasing. So definitely keeping our content consistent is going to be a big thing, but we're ready to take on that challenge. So
I have no doubts, man. I have no doubts. I've seen where you guys, have come from, and it's really good stuff. That's one reason why I reached out. I was like, man, you want to sit down and talk to us about what you got going on? Because, dude, it's mind blowing. John, hot tag, you're in.
So we've talked a little bit about the future of your channel specifically, but what do you think about the growth of streaming platforms and what the opportunities are for content creators like us to move forward? Like, where do you think the next big growth space will be? And what do you think we need to change up as content creators to get to that next level? Because everybody doing this is kind of looking for that next jump point. And there's always a new platform and there's always a new technology. But what do you think is our biggest opportunity as content creators to reach out to our audience and really build a platform?
for us, Bill, obviously, algorithms change all the time. Like you said, different apps are made. So I feel like honestly, when, ever you see kind of like one algorithm starting, I feel like jumping on that right away and not like waiting, because if you wait, you're screwed. It's just, you're going to be like everyone else. So I feel like making sure to be consistent with the algorithms going on so that your content isn't the same as everyone else's. And yeah, it's honestly all I have for that.
How do you try to keep your thumb on that wave of algorithm? What do you look for in maybe your analytics or or in the way that other content performs on other platforms to judge where you make your shifts?
So I'll use TikTok as my example, but whenever I have, yeah, like whenever I have a couple clips I'm gonna post, there's like a certain time. I think it's like there's like it's like 3 p.m., 6 p.m., 8 p.m., something like that. But there's different times where if you post, your like our clips will get seen more than if we post at like a random time. So we've realized that paying attention to what time the algorithms have kind of rise is where when we post, like I think for TikTok, I think we've noticed that if we post a clip at like 8 p.m., it'll get like a massive amount of views rather than posting at a different time. So honestly, just paying attention to the times has helped us. And yeah, I got that tip honestly from other creators too, so it's helped us a lot.
Yeah, I think every platform has windows that are more activity and less activity. Do you use like test posts to find out like if the algorithm's changing? Do you watch your view numbers and see if that changes at all? Do you have a stat tracker, or is it just something that you guys kind of just eyeball?
Actually, I have like a personal account too on TikTok, so I kind of use that as my testing account. And I chose like a couple of days I would post at different times, like, and I wrote down that time like on my phone just so I could remember it. And I realized that posting at certain times, audiences were higher, views were going up on my personal account, which doesn't really have that many followers. So then I kind of just transformed that onto our over the top talk TikTok page, and I've realized that the views are still consistent and high during those times. So we try to stick with the times where the audience is higher. So
Just typical trial and error as per usual.
yeah,
Goes
yeah,
into that. It's a lot of work to do this, and a lot of people don't realize what goes into it.
Oh yeah, we haven't got into editing and any of that stuff, man. That's a whole
Nope.
nother disaster in its own right. It can be at times. Um, John, what else you got, man?
Well, really, like as a content creator that's early on in your journey there, what advice would you give to audiences out there who may be thinking about getting into podcasting or any kind of content creation? Really, like what things would you advise someone to consider when they think that, oh, I should go make content on the internet? What words of advice would you give them on things that they should consider before they decide that track might be right for them?
honestly, just making sure because you can really do this. It's the one podcast, and I've realized that's like the one thing you can kind of just do, like time wise, like even if you have work, you can do it after. Just making time. Also, the equipment, you really don't even have to like I'm just using simple headphones and like a mic, so it's really not that
I
hard
started
to
my channel on a
start.
laptop in my driveway. I understand.
So yeah, yeah, you can kind of start it, but I feel like you have to have the mindset to start it because then you have to be consistent with it. You can't just post one thing and then not post for like a month. So I definitely say if you want to start one, you really have the mindset to start one, hop on different platforms right away, and just be consistent with it. And you have to know yourself that you are going to be consistent. And without Anthony, I probably wouldn't have done this. Obviously, I wouldn't be able to do this by myself. So I'd
Having a
say that
partner is
if you
helpful.
want to start it, yeah, having a partner is definitely helpful.
It's that cross accountability. He calls me and gives me a schedule, and I know that I have to show up for him. So I am more accountable to myself because I know that he's putting in effort, so I can't let him down.
Well, let me
Yeah.
ask you this, and maybe we'll start circling around and tying a bow on it. Are you guys, as you grow, um, like John said earlier, like we've got John, I've got Eric, and like five or six guys across the globe. Are you guys gonna eventually like open up and try and make a bigger thing out of it and say, hey, let's find somebody that's over in the UK. Let's find somebody, in these other markets, not just for wrestling, but also like sports. If you're gonna travel down the road and really
If you had a UK correspondent that was into soccer, you could cover all of that.
Yeah, we do want to find, that was kind of one of the things we have started to was finding people from, the different um, leagues like the UFC. We would kind of want to find someone that, likes it too. Same with the NFL. Then we can, like, when we want to talk about UFC, we can have that guy on. NFL, bring another guy on. NBA, like that. So we also have started, we have like 100 business cards right now that whenever we go to an event, like we're going to SmackDown Friday, so we're gonna, kind of just be like, here, take this, follow us if you want. You don't have to though.
Always
Kind
a
of just
network
having those
opportunity.
cards. So yeah, so Friday we're just gonna pass those out, kind of pre-show. So
hey, you're laying the track for something that has the potential to be very, very beneficial for you guys. If nobody else has told you, I appreciate the content that you've put out. I appreciate what you guys are doing and the work that you're putting in at such a young age. It is insane to me. And I truly believe that if you guys stick to it, give it another 4 to 5 years, man, you guys will be sitting pretty. You have the mind on you to do this, and I wish I could have talked to your partner as well, because I feel like there's more meat on the bone a little bit to be able to get you both in. Maybe we can circle back around at some point and have you both back on, and would love to keep in touch for sure, because again, professional wrestling has a way of bringing people together. That's something that we say on the channel, and it's brought this conversation together. So I appreciate your time, number one. Time is valuable to everybody. So I appreciate you saying yes to coming in and talking to us and giving us a little bit more insight about Over the Top Talk. I think you guys just keep going because you're gonna do some things.
yeah, and we do think, yeah, I do wish Anthony was on here, but yeah, we're definitely willing to come back on at any point. So schedule is kind of clear right now. We are just, the UFC guys are really the only one. We are gonna make a post probably either today or tomorrow, asking other podcast groups if they want to come on, or we'll go on theirs. So
Well, John, I'll send him.
Dude, networking, man, that's what it's about. You get on shows, we get on shows, everybody gets on shows, and we all spread the love everywhere. And it is realistically like we're all working towards the same goal, and that's to make the things that we're passionate about important to other people. And sharing that kind of passion with other people is what the goal is for our channel. It's what the goal is for yours. And when we're all enjoying the thing that we're sharing and everybody else is getting into it too, it just makes it bigger. It's better for us that way.
Oh, I thought you were going to say something. Okay. All right, guys. So if you have made it this far in the video, right above his head, right there, above him, it's his name. It's Owen. It's Over the Top Talk. You see his Instagram. You see the TikTok. I want you guys to go ahead and give it a follow. It's free. It costs you nothing. Before we go there, did you guys get your T-shirt off the ground? I know that a while back I saw a post about you guys getting a merch shirt together. Is that up? Is that running?
As of right now, no, but we do have the design out. We're just trying to figure out financially how we're gonna do that. But we
may be able to help
also
with that.
I can help you with that.
also in the yeah, also in the works. We kind of ran away from this idea, but we're going back to it. We want to make a shirt where it's, all we have as many wrestling creators as we can, like on the back with their tags that they want. people to follow them on. We can kind of just like walk around with them, you know. Someone in the street will see them, maybe give a follow. So that's definitely in the works. But yeah, we will have merch like very soon.
Perfect. I'll give you a name off air here in a second that can help you out with that. That they helped us out as well. We've got mugs, T-shirts, the whole deal. It's super simple. Owen, what do you want to say to the people before we close it out, my man?
All right. I will say, obviously, thank you guys for having me on. I love coming on these shows because, you know, I don't have to do any work. So,
It's the best part.
definitely helps me a lot. Obviously, like they said, follow Over the Top Talk, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Over the Top Talk, no spaces. And yeah, thank you guys again, obviously. Obviously, I'll be around if you guys want to have us on, both of us, you know, just hit us up. We're around all the time, so definitely we'll be following you guys. And yeah,
We will definitely circle back around and get a time together where we can get you both on because I think picking the brains of both of you guys on what you're doing is it would be so much fun. Because I believe in what you're doing and the product that you're putting out there. I really think that it's you guys have come a long way in such a short period of time that there's no way that if you don't stick with it that you guys can't make something of it, something more tangible of it. So please, by all means, keep plugging away. John, take us home, my man.
Guys and gals, it has been a pleasure sharing our passion for the industry and getting insights from all over the place, as we always do here. You know what to do with those elbows. You drop them savagely right there on the ding bell so you never miss a beat. What we got going on behind the curtain, there's always new guests and new shows coming up all the time right here on the channel. You guys know that we are always about supporting the indies and supporting people that are trying to make this a whole bigger scene than we've ever seen it be, and it's headed that direction. You can help too by following all the links below. Maybe you can't afford to buy a t-shirt or a ticket, but you can afford to like, share, and subscribe to the channels and send them to your friends. Maybe they can support and help out just that little bit. Every little bit helps. We do, as always, love each and every one of your faces, and we'll see you guys next time.